Good evening, sir, and thank you very much.
Good evening.
For your time. Just, I spoke to a couple of people who belong, like part of your constituency. Today, we're not so chuffed at the way they say we as South Africans have kind of embraced and are going all mad about this particular visit.
Exactly, Vio, that's the point. Look, Vuyo, we do not have a problem for their visit in this country, having these good intentions, fighting gender-based violence. But the point is the coverage that is given to their visit compared to us in the country. And the very same thing that he's here for is something that our traditional leaders are doing in the country. Look, we have kings and queens. We have traditional leaders. We have 860 recognized traditional leaders in the country, councils, that they are doing this work. If I may even ask you that tomorrow, what is your plan? Because it's a Heritage Day tomorrow. And the very same thing that the Prince is doing in the country now is something that is happening all over the country, in these traditional countries, in these traditional communities. But the point is we don't get coverage to showcase that how capable are we as traditional leaders to do that. So it is our concern that the media coverage that is given to them, it's more than what we were supposed to get as the traditional leaders in this country.
But you do, the government rolls out the red carpet for traditional leaders. You're part of our system. There is recognition of that, and that is why you get budgeted for, and you are supported in programs that you are supposed to do.
We are coming to that point. Let's talk about the media coverage, the media in the country, their tendency in terms of giving or profiling people who are coming outside to this country. If you look at the level of the Prince compared to a king who's doing a wonderful job in the area, have you ever tried to go to that area and give the coverage that we are doing to this, the royal visit of the British Prince? If I've been watching TV the whole day today, that it was all about him and his wife. Even if in terms of talking about preparing for food and everything, those are the things that we are saying. I think the time that we have given to them, it's not bad, but what is it that you have done for us as the media, knowing exactly this is the country that have chiefs, kings, and the princesses? You have alluded to that effect. We have the organization, the Congress of Traditional Leaders in the country. You don't know even the president, who is the president of Contralesa, and what is he going to do tomorrow? We have a statutory body, which is the National House of Traditional Leaders in this country. But their efforts and their work, it's not known, it's not profiled in the manner that in a single day that the Prince has visited in this country. And we are here. We are doing the programs that are fighting gender-based violence like they are here for, which we are not condemning that. We are not they are wrong. But I'm saying they are adding to what we are doing. But in terms of profiling, in terms of the hype that is being given to them, it's not alluded to us. That is the concern that we have. Furthermore, much as we have supported their move, it will be very disappointing. We have heard rumors that the Prince at the end, before he leaves the country, would have meetings with the government officials, knowing exactly we have these structures that I've mentioned. For him to come to this country and the government not to assist or advise the Prince to say, look, in this country we have kings and queens, that at least before you leave, you should go and see them and hear their stories and share the platform, exchange the programs with the same intentions that you have. We are here for. So those are the concerns that we have. But honestly speaking, this is the gospel truth. This is a fact that you don't give us the coverage compared to the outsiders. Recently, I've seen on TV, King Zwelitin visited Britain. On the news, this was just less than 2 minutes. We didn't know the program, what he did in on that side in Britain. But look at Prince Henry.
How do you think maybe this relationship needs to change? What are the sort of things that you believe perhaps we should be doing better? Because, whenever you are the House of Traditional, I remember when the House of Traditional Leaders was opened by the President, which we covered for the whole day. I even had I did have the Secretary, the General Secretary of Contralesa as a guest. So what are these things? If someone was to say, okay, let's reflect on about things you have done, let's say, over the past 6 months. What did we miss that you did?
We have been engaging in many activities. Last week, all over the country, we have been engaging in terms of programs, talking to gender-based values, reviving our culture, having the ceremonies in our areas, but there was no coverage. I would mention someone in the Eastern Cape. There was no coverage. Tomorrow, as I'm saying, there are many programs that we are embarking on in our own areas. I don't think there's a program to say we'll visit those areas. But surely, from today and tomorrow, you'll be following Prince, the British Prince, up until he leaves the country. You see, some of the things, if you let me just go back a bit, as I've said that we welcome his visit because he's got good intentions, but then to some of us would feel at least what I would say that it reminds us of the past history. It touches our wounds. We're emotionally wounded. If you look, going back to the history, you would remember in 1835, I'm making an example, a King Inza was slaughtered like an animal by his forebears, but he's in this country now. There is no mention that he would ever try to visit the Eastern Cape to the King of Markle to say, whatever we've had in the history, but we are here to mend relationships. There are no reparations. The King of Mampondo is a kingdom son. So in 1880, he was attacked, and he left his country. Up until today, there are no reparations. There is no word from the British royal family to say these are the things that we have done. For anyone, we can even go beyond and say they are here, but they have amassed our wealth, they have taken our wealth. It will really, really be sad for us if we'll allow this situation. From the point of government, from the point of the media, the media should really, really consider that if it comes, we need it to be considered in terms of media coverage on the things that we are doing, so that when you profile us, at least we know that traditional leaders are always blamed by the people, that there's nothing that they are doing. But without your assistance as the media, people cannot see that there are good things that we are doing. Not refusing that there are certain things that we may do wrong, but there are certain good things that we are doing.
So it's not only coverage that you have issues with, right? You also, I mean, there's the history that you just spoke to. Could you not, because everyone knew that this couple was coming a long time ago, yes, could you not have leveraged on your relationship with the government to say, can't we have an audience with, I'm saying proactively now, as leaders, of society, could you not have leveraged on your relationship with the government and ask for an audience with these people and say, but shouldn't you, Harry, be acknowledging the past?
But the point
shouldn't you, perhaps this is what you can say, or this is what you can do?
On that space again, I think the government should have done that proactively, as you are saying, to say, look, we are going to be visited by the British royals here, and we know that we've got a statutory structure, like the National House of Traditional Leaders, we have got controllers like Congress of Traditional Leaders. When you landed here, at least it will be such a good move, gesture to say, first visit them, and then they should go to these areas. But they are in the country now, and we are all surprised the hype that they are given to them, and yet we are here. If I may know to say, do you know how many kings that we have in the country that are not known by the South Africans?
Yes, I hear you. But what I'm saying is, are you saying that you are entirely blameless? In other words, you have your own structure. I mean, you have a whole administrative team, right? I mean, couldn't you have proactively, sort of agitated for the things that...
proactively from the side of the media. Have you ever tried to say, we hear it as the media, because you get the news in advance, to say, hey, the president of Contralesa, the chairperson of the National House, there's this move that the visit, it's here now. What is it that you can do? Do you know anything? What is it that you can...
Yeah, but remember, other people actively lobby. Let's say, whether it's a company announcing results or it's a company doing work, they do actually approach the media. Let's proactively. They will say, there is this happening, we think it deserves coverage. And then people, editors in newsrooms then make the calls to say, oh, sure.
But in many instances, Vuyo, you come to us when there are certain things without even calling you, Vuyo, to say this thing is going to happen.
Which happens everywhere.
Yes, this should have happened even from your side, to approach it in the same manner that you used to approach it if things that are happening.
Prince Tabana, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
He is, of course, a member of the National Executive of the Congress of Traditional Leaders of South Africa.